What is going on, guys? So today I'm going to talk to you about something that isn't really talked about that much, and that is being an SMP cadet. What happens, kind of how do you become one, and then as far as for me, my experience whenever I was an SMP cadet. Alright, so real quick, for those of you that do not know, an SMP cadet, somebody who is in the SMP program, they are in the simultaneous membership program. And essentially, you know, they don't have to be Army Reserves or National Guard and enlist first, but a lot of times recruiters will tell people, hey, you know, go ahead and enlist and do Army Reserves, go ahead and enlist and do National Guard, and then you can go and do ROTC, and then you can enroll in the SMP program, in which you will then start drilling as a cadet at a unit. You don't have to go that route. You can also kind of join ROTC, and then you can, after a year of being there, that is one thing I do want to point out, you can then apply to be an SMP cadet if you're just wanting to go active duty, if you do not have any military experience whatsoever. If you want to watch any of my other videos on how to enroll in ROTC, I've already got some videos on that, so you guys can check that out. But one of the reasons that this topic is a little bit confusing for some people is because a lot of times people like myself going to an Army recruiter. I wanted to join in the Army Reserves, and I'm talking to this recruiter and he's telling me about this SMP program where I can get paid E5 at drill, and that was really confusing for me at first. You know, I remember thinking for a second that I was going to be promoted to E5 right after AIT. It was just a real confusing time, so I didn't really understand everything. There wasn't anybody like me on YouTube doing some stuff about this Army stuff. So what essentially is going to happen, right? So this is for the Army Reserve and National Guard people. I'll talk about active duty in just a little bit. But for Army Reserves and National Guard, what you're going to do is you're going to talk to your recruiter, you're going to enlist, you're going to go to your AIT, and then once you're done with your AIT, either you've gone to an ROTC program before, you've already been enrolled and now you've gone to basic and AIT, or you've never been enrolled in ROTC before. So after AIT, that's what you want to do. You want to be an officer, you want to take the ROTC route, so you can do that. You will have to find an ROTC program out there at a local school or whatever. And then now that you have already completed your basic training in AIT, you don't have to do the first 2 years of ROTC, and this also qualifies you to do the SMP program right out the gate. Now, it's really not all that difficult of a process for those that are prior service trying to become an SMP cadet. The reason being is you're already in the military, and there are a lot of times in the military, you know, sometimes people say the same thing about OCS and whatever, but I'm not going to go on a tangent or anything. But the military likes to invest in people that they've already invested in. So whenever they're looking at somebody who wants to enroll in the SMP program and they're not in the military, aka somebody who's just doing straight ROTC, they want to go active duty later. So they're looking at that person, and then sometimes they're looking at an Army Reservist or a National Guard soldier. They're already in the military, right? So they're already committed. Enrolling in that SMP program is going to be really easy because you're already in, and 99 times out of 100, I would just say, you know, it's almost guaranteed, hopefully, that the unit that you're already drilling at is the unit that you're going to be drilling at as an SMP cadet. Because in the simultaneous membership program, whether you're wanting to go active duty later or if you're doing Army Reserves and National Guard, what you are going to do is drill at a unit and get paid as E5. So if you enlist as an E1, E2, E3, E4, it doesn't matter. If you enlist, you go through basic training in AIT, and then you contract as an SMP cadet. You know, you may have gone to a few drills already, you know, as a whatever rank you were before. But once you become that SMP cadet, now you are a cadet, and you will be getting paid as E5 pay. You're not the rank of E5, you are a cadet, which a lot of people didn't understand when I made that one video. A cadet is an actual rank in the military, right? So you are a cadet, and you are paid as an E5. So for those of you that are reservists in National Guard, the only real thing that you have to do is you essentially have to get an approval letter, a letter of recommendation from your unit to actually give to your recruiter at your ROTC program. They're going to deal with all that stuff. You're not going to talk to your enlistment recruiter. That's one reason that this stuff is a little bit confusing, is because those guys that you enlist with, they don't really know that much about actually enrolling in the process of SMP program. But once you enroll in ROTC, you go to ROTC, you can just talk to them. It's super simple. You know, you're gonna have a couple papers to fill out, and then you're gonna go and get your letter of recommendation or whatever, or approval from your unit. My unit personally, they didn't even have a cadet position for me to drill there as an SMP cadet. What they did was, I think they turned like an E5 slot, and then they just like turn that into a cadet slot, which is a little bit interesting. I'm not sure how the details of that works, but just in case if your unit doesn't have a cadet slot, you might want to mention that to them, that it is technically possible if they didn't have an E5 slot before. Now, for those of you that are going active duty, you're not going reserves or National Guard before trying to become an SMP cadet, it's gonna be like, I guess, easier and harder for you to do it. You don't have to be an SMP cadet if you don't want to. For reservists and National Guard, it's kind of like, it's almost like you have to because you're just drilling already, so you just do it, you keep drilling, now you get paid E5, super simple. But if you're going to active duty through ROTC program and that's what you want to do, you don't have to enroll in SMP, right? You don't have to enroll in that program. You don't have to do those drills all the time. Although I would recommend it because it is going to give you a little bit of a taste of the Army. You're going to go there as a cadet. You're supposed to be shadowing the officers there, so whenever you go to those drills, if you're already reserves or National Guard, or if you're just wanting to do the SMP program, that's what you're supposed to do. So pretty much your job at that point, no matter what MOS you had before, is to shadow officers, kind of just get the feel for it a little bit. You're not really gonna be doing too much because you haven't been trained on anything at all, but you're gonna be basically shadowing. That's basically what I did. Some people might have a little bit more hands-on experiences than others. It just depends on what unit you go to, but that is what the SMP program is. It doesn't change too much. Like if you were reserves or guard and you've gone to some drills before as a enlisted soldier, and then you make the switch to a cadet, and now you're drilling as an SMP cadet, it's not really going to be that different. For me, it's like everybody already knew me from, you know, being a specialist. Like they already knew me as being a specialist. Now it was kind of like I'm in the weird little limbo ground where I can hang out with officers and I can also hang out with enlisted soldiers. So that was really interesting, but I mean, nobody really treated me like too different. It was just, hey, now I can like hang out with officers, which is really cool. But the bottom line is, if you do want to know more and if you want to know the enrollment process, the exact paperwork and all that stuff that you need to do, that's gonna be something that you're not gonna deal with your recruiter. That's gonna be something you're gonna deal with the ROTC program and your unit, right? So those are things that you might have questions about now because maybe you haven't even enlisted yet and you're trying to ask your recruiter all these questions about the SMP program. Essentially what they're gonna tell you is you're gonna get paid as E5 on your drill weekends, which is true, and you're gonna be a cadet. And you're gonna be drilling as a cadet, and you're gonna get to work with officers more than obviously if you were just enlisted, right? So that's what you're gonna do, you're shadowing officers, that's your job, right? So whatever enlistment contract you have, whenever you become a cadet, that enlistment contract is null and void anymore. Like it does not matter. That prior MOS you have, you're not that MOS. I think it's 09 Romeo is the MOS you have as a cadet. So those are probably just the basic things that recruiters are gonna tell you. It's not super mind-blowing. It's not some crazy, awesome like thing, like experience, right? You're just drilling as a cadet, and that's pretty much all it is. So if you're in the ROTC program, once you're contracted, you're an SMP cadet. The ROTC program stuff takes precedence over your SMP drills and stuff. But essentially, whenever you're not doing some ROTC event on a drill weekend, you go to your drill weekend, you go to your ROTC events and stuff like that. So it really doesn't like intertwine that much with ROTC. It's like you just simply drill as a cadet. That's really all it is. Without getting too much rambling and stuff for this video, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off here, but that's pretty much the basics on being an SMP cadet, whether you're reserves, National Guard, or wanting to do active duty. Talk with your ROTC program, whichever one that you're wanting to enroll in, see if this is something that you can do. You know, first off, I do recommend talking to the ROTC program before even enlisting, just to, you know, make sure that the slots and all this stuff aren't full, because that's something that happens. Like, you know, you might go to a place and they got 20 people that are trying to fight for 10 commissioning slots. That's something to consider. Those are things that you should find out before going to basic training. I suggest contacting your recruiting office, your ROTC recruiting office, that person at some point in time, and you can find that number or whatever on Google. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something. If you did, hit that like button. That would be awesome. If you want to check out some more of my videos, hit that subscribe button. That would be even better. And if you want to follow me on Instagram and Snapchat, social media links are right there. I hope you guys have an amazing freaking day, and I will see you later.